Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into a fascinating topic: foods that cause addiction. Ever wondered why you can't stop eating certain foods? You know, that feeling when you polish off an entire bag of chips or that pint of ice cream in one sitting. We're going to explore the science behind it and why certain foods can have such a powerful hold on us. Let's unravel the mysteries of food addiction together.
All right, let's talk sugar. We all know it tastes good, but did you know it directly impacts your brain's reward system? Imagine this. You take a bite of cake. The sugar hits your tongue and boom! Your taste buds send signals to your brain, specifically to the area called the nucleus accumbens. This area is like the brain's pleasure center, and it loves dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter, a chemical messenger that plays a big role in how we experience pleasure. When you eat sugar, your brain gets flooded with dopamine, and it's like fireworks going off in your head. It feels good. Now here's the catch. Your brain remembers this pleasurable feeling and starts craving more. It's like, hey, remember that sugar rush? Let's do that again. And that's how the craving cycle begins. The more sugar you consume, the more your brain gets used to that dopamine rush. Over time, you might find yourself needing more and more sugar to reach that same level of satisfaction. This is called tolerance, and it's a hallmark of addiction. Think about it like this. Let's say you have a sweet tooth and indulge in sugary drinks every day. Your brain becomes accustomed to that regular dopamine hit, but then you decide to cut back on the sugary drinks. What happens? Well, your brain might start throwing a tantrum. You might experience withdrawal symptoms like headaches, fatigue, or even mood swings. This is your brain saying, hey, where's my dopamine fix? So, how do we break free from this sugar addiction? It's all about making gradual changes to your diet. Start by reducing your sugar intake slowly. Instead of reaching for that soda, opt for water with a squeeze of lemon or a piece of fruit. Remember, knowledge is power. By understanding how sugar affects our brains, we can make conscious choices to regain control over our cravings.
Let's be real. Many of us rely on that morning cup of coffee or tea to kickstart our day. But have you ever wondered why you feel that urge for another cup, and then another? It's not just you. Caffeine is a sneaky stimulant that can lead to dependence. Here's the deal. Caffeine works its magic by blocking a neurotransmitter called adenosine. Adenosine is like the sleep signal in your brain. As adenosine builds up throughout the day, you start feeling tired and ready for bed. But when you consume caffeine, it steps in and blocks adenosine from doing its job. This tricks your brain into thinking you're more awake and alert than you actually are. It's like hitting the snooze button on your sleepiness. Now, while a moderate amount of caffeine can improve focus and energy levels, excessive caffeine intake can lead to dependence and even withdrawal symptoms. Think about those pounding headaches you get when you skip your usual coffee. That's caffeine withdrawal in action. Your body gets used to having a certain level of caffeine, and when that level drops, it throws a bit of a fit. You might experience fatigue, irritability, difficulty concentrating, and even muscle pain. Not fun, right? The key here is moderation. Listen to your body and be mindful of your caffeine intake. If you're feeling overly reliant on caffeine, try gradually reducing your consumption. Start by swapping out one caffeinated drink per day with a decaffeinated option or herbal tea. Remember, it's all about finding a balance that works for you. Enjoy your caffeine in moderation and stay aware of its potential effects on your body.
We all love a juicy burger or a plate of crispy fries, right? But there's a reason why fatty foods can be so incredibly tempting. Fat plays a significant role in food addiction, and it all comes down to how our brains and bodies are wired. First off, fat is a flavor carrier. It adds that rich, satisfying taste and texture that makes food so enjoyable. Think about the difference between a dry chicken breast and a perfectly cooked, juicy steak. The fat content makes all the difference in flavor. But beyond taste, fat also triggers the release of feel-good chemicals in our brains. When we consume fat, our bodies release hormones like dopamine and endorphins, which have mood-boosting and pain-relieving effects. These hormones create a sense of pleasure and satisfaction, making us crave more of that fatty goodness. Now here's where things get tricky. Our brains are wired to seek out high-calorie foods as a survival mechanism. Back in the day, when food was scarce, our ancestors needed to consume as many calories as possible to survive. Fat, being the most calorie-dense macronutrient, was highly prized. Fast forward to today, and we have an abundance of food readily available. However, our brains haven't quite caught up with this modern-day luxury. We still have that primal instinct to seek out high-calorie, fatty foods, even when we don't need them for survival. This can lead to overconsumption of fatty foods, which can contribute to weight gain and other health issues. The key is to be mindful of our fat intake and choose healthy fats in moderation. Opt for unsaturated fats found in foods like avocados, nuts, and olive oil, which provide health benefits. Limit saturated and trans fats found in processed foods and fatty meats, as these can have negative impacts on our health.
We all know that too much salt can be bad for our health. But did you know that salt can also create a dependency? It's true. Our bodies need a certain amount of sodium to function properly, but when we consume excessive amounts, it can lead to a vicious cycle of cravings and overconsumption. Salt works its magic by stimulating our taste buds and triggering the release of pleasure chemicals in the brain. When we eat salty foods, our brains release dopamine, which makes us feel good and crave more of that salty goodness. But here's the catch: when we consume a lot of salt, our bodies become less sensitive to its effects. This means we need to eat even more salt to experience the same level of satisfaction. It's like our taste buds become desensitized and we need a higher dose of salt to get that same salty kick. This can be problematic because excessive salt intake can lead to high blood pressure, a major risk factor for heart disease and stroke. When we consume too much salt, it disrupts the balance of fluids in our bodies, causing our blood volume to increase. This puts extra strain on our blood vessels and heart, increasing the risk of these serious health conditions. So, how do we break free from this salty cycle? The key is to reduce our salt intake gradually. Start by paying attention to food labels and choosing lower sodium options. Cook more meals at home so you can control the amount of salt added. And remember, salt isn't the only way to add flavor to your food. Experiment with herbs, spices, and other flavor enhancers like citrus juice or vinegar to create delicious and satisfying meals without relying on excessive salt.
Have you ever wondered why some processed foods are so addictive? It's not just the sugar, fat, and salt. Artificial additives play a significant role in hooking us on these foods. These additives are designed to enhance flavor, improve texture, and extend shelf life, but they can also have unintended consequences on our brains and bodies. One group of additives that deserves attention is flavor enhancers. These sneaky ingredients are added to foods to make them taste even more delicious and keep us coming back for more. One of the most well-known flavor enhancers is monosodium glutamate, or MSG. MSG enhances the savory, umami taste of foods, making them incredibly satisfying. However, some people are sensitive to MSG and may experience headaches, sweating, or even nausea after consuming it. Another category of additives that can contribute to food addiction is artificial sweeteners. These sweeteners are often found in diet sodas, sugar-free candies, and other processed foods marketed as healthier options. While they may seem like a good alternative to sugar, artificial sweeteners can actually backfire when it comes to cravings. Artificial sweeteners are hundreds of times sweeter than sugar, and they trick our brains into thinking we're consuming something sweet. However, because they don't provide any actual calories, our bodies don't get the satisfaction they expect, leading to increased cravings for sweet foods. To break free from the grip of artificial additives, it's crucial to read food labels carefully and be aware of what we're putting into our bodies. Opt for whole, unprocessed foods whenever possible, and choose products with minimal ingredients that you can recognize and pronounce.
Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more educational content. Understanding how these common ingredients can affect us is the first step to making healthier choices. Remember, knowledge is power. See you next time.